So I've talked a lot about this, how I think information is never destroyed in this universe. These physicists, they made a wormhole in the lab, and this wormhole, they put 7 qubits on each side of the wormhole, and then they used negative energy or a simulation of negative energy to keep the wormhole open. And they had a probe qubit, and that probe qubit went through the wormhole, and what happened on the other side? Sure enough, it had all the information that it took from the other side. So wormholes, whenever I talked about wormholes, well, I don't even know if I said this, but I know I thought it. I think I've said it, but I talk about them and say, like, physicists say they can't stay open long enough to travel through. Well, they stayed open long enough to travel through in this quantum simulation. So why wouldn't they do that in real life if you have the right conditions? So what are the implications of all this? They're huge. It shows information in the universe is never destroyed, which is something I've talked about on this channel. I always said light carried information. It's possible they're carried through like entanglement or like, some other particles, neutrinos. I'm not sure. My theory was maybe it was light, because if you go faster than light, you could actually capture, you could get ahead of it and see it. So it seemed to be carrying information, but it could be anything carrying that. The bottom line is information is not destroyed. It went through a wormhole and it came out the other side intact completely. We can conclude wormholes don't collapse as people thought. And the biggest thing I think we can conclude is that we likely existed in some other form in the past, because it's very possible the Big Bang was just traveling through a wormhole or something like that. Like a black hole is very similar to a wormhole. Maybe a black hole finally had all its Hawking radiation come off of it, evaporate, and then when that happens, it actually explodes. It's possible that happened. The bottom line is information is never destroyed. That means the information of me. I'm information. I'm made of these things. I'm made of electrons. I'm made of, quarks. I'm made of all this stuff. So I'm information in a way. In a way, I'm information. And if information is never destroyed, it could go through wormholes. It could go through probably black holes based on the Big Bang. It probably means we have existed before, and that is really weird to think about, but I don't know. To me, that's to me like a big, grand, theoretical hypothesis that I come to conclude from this wormhole. I think this is something that makes sense, that the logic of that makes sense to me.